Residents could also be seen trying to fix their roofs and patch together what they could. Even though they were grateful to be alive, the desperation could be seen on their faces as they toiled together. Following the carnage, the government embarked on several relief efforts. So, how are we doing a year later? We're now being joined by the Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining and Member of Parliament for Southwest St. Elizabeth, Floyd Green, Minister of Labour and Social Security, and Member of Parliament for Southeast Clarendon, Purnell Charles Jr. Good afternoon.
Afternoon, Ricardo. Afternoon, Sanjay. Afternoon, Purnell.
Yes, afternoon to all.
All right. Thank you so much for joining us. Let me start with the Labour and Social Security Minister, because your ministry would have been integral in leading relief efforts at the time. How are we now, 1 year later?
Well, 1 year later, we have an assessment that establishes that we have provided significant relief to the majority of persons who were assessed as being severely impacted and significantly impacted by burial. 1 year later, we've been able to, through government, actually do a coordinated assessment that has assisted us in, I would say, improving and enhancing our preparation for whatever is to come in the future. And 1 year later, we continue through many different initiatives, from the Ministry of Labour and Social Security to the individual constituencies through the CDF fund being granted support, through different ministries also being granted support. We continue to offer, I would say, valuable support and continue our efforts just to clean up for those persons who still are suffering the impact, and for the few who were assessed, but for whatever reason, whether it is difficulty in terms of contacting them or incorrect TRN, you still have a number of persons who every now and again will come to our office and indicate that they either were not assessed, but they got some impact, or they were assessed, but they haven't gotten a check. And we continue to treat with those persons month by month.
And Minister Green, Southwest St. Elizabeth was among the worst hit areas. 1 year later, how would you assess the recovery in terms of agriculture and rural livelihoods?
I think firstly, the people of Southwest St. Elizabeth have done a tremendous job just pulling their lives back together. I mean, it has been our most devastating hurricane. And if you listen to people who've been around for much longer than me, they say in their lifetime, and we saw a number of communities with significant damage. But when you go across the constituency, as I have been doing all of today, visiting graduations, you really see the resilience of the people shine out. A number of people have been able to pull back their homes, have been able to put back on their roofs, have been able to change their designs, and clearly they've done it with some support, and they're very grateful for it. And as a constituency, we're happy to see the work of the Ministry of Labour. We're happy to see our NGO partners like Breads and GEMS, and a number of different groups that came on the ground and helped with everything from generators to portable generators so people could charge their phones. So I think we really saw the best of the constituency on display in terms of being able to build back. And 1 year later, clearly, there are still some people, as the Minister said, who are still in the rebuilding process, who are still awaiting some additional support. And we continue to take that information and to try to get to them one by one as much as possible. From an agricultural perspective, and clearly for Southwest St. Elizabeth, it all goes together. As a major agricultural belt, we were extremely hard hit, but definitely the ministry has equipped itself much better to treat with these disasters. So proactively at the start of last year, we had procured seeds, we had procured some inputs, preparing for the hurricane season. So literally 2 weeks after burial, we were able to gather in a church in Roxfield, in Flaggerman, in Southwest St. Elizabeth, and started handing out seeds and started encouraging our farmers to get back up and running. And definitely, our farmers answered the call in a big way. I mean, they did suffer other blows throughout the course of the year with Tropical Storm Raphael. When you look at the agricultural sector overall, I think the level of comeback and the speed at which we've been able to rebound is really something to talk about.
And Minister, just before I go back to your colleague, Minister Pernell Charles Jr., 3.1% is what Statin is reporting in growth for agriculture, forestry, and fishing for the first quarter. You must be welcoming these numbers.
Absolutely. We are very proud of our farmers and our teams, our RADA team, our AgriInvest team out on the ground engaging our farmers. This is, Beryl was 1 year ago, and then we had Tropical Storm Raphael in November. So a lot of people never thought we would be able to get back to growth in the January to March quarter. And, people say all sorts of things about what's happening, but the numbers, quite frankly, speak for themselves. And what we have seen in the January to March quarter is our biggest January to March quarter for domestic production ever. So we passed what was our highest in 2022, which was about 218,000 tons, and we're now over 220,000 tons. So we are really proud of the work of the farmers and our entities, as I said, the work of the RADA team, JAS, who works with us, and also all the support we got from private sector and NGO groupings to provide direct support to the farmers, like Food for the Poor, to help them get back up and running despite multiple blows.
Mm-hmm. And Minister Charles Jr., what are some of the major challenges your ministry faced in terms of mobilizing to get people the assistance?
Well, of course, that just getting on the ground in some of the remote areas was difficult because of the after effect of the hurricane. In addition to that, we have a lot of lessons that we learned in terms of just utilizing digital platforms and the types of equipment that actually work on the ground when you have disruptions in the internet and other things that you may not expect. But all in all, I believe that the lessons learned have guided us now to where we are in terms of better contingency planning and putting together the kind of management systems that will allow for us to be able to foresee working online, offline, remotely. If our team members are unable to get out, how do we work across partnerships with stakeholders in government and outside of government, and just improving in terms of the effectiveness. I must tell you, though, that when we do the assessments, what is clear is that there has been a strong and decisive response by this government, and that's due to, I would say, better planning, prioritizing the people, having the fiscal space and the stronger economy that allowed for us to be able to do what we've never done before, which is provide more than $1 billion, more than $1.4 billion to support persons that were impacted, and to also be able to bring in partnerships through World Food Program and UNICEF that brought on significant additional funds to assist victims of burial, to provide hot meals during burial, to provide additional resources, to be able to create a space for partnerships with GEMS and Food for the Poor and other NGOs that have fixed numerous roofs and provided tanks and water support and just general support needed for people to bounce back.
Yeah.
And for those who did not, fall within the web of getting immediate support, we've also had additional steps and procedures. The Prime Minister offered $5 million to each constituency, which was again utilized to give support to many of those persons who didn't get the benefit of the hurricane burial. And additionally to that, there are many persons who may not have had household damage, but micro business, their shop was damaged, and they also fall within the remit of the several hundreds of persons that have come to the ministry and may not be receiving support through burial, but are receiving support through our rehabilitation grants. So all in all, a comprehensive and strong response from the government of Jamaica.
Here's what I'm thinking about, Minister Charles Jr. Obviously, your ministry, burial is not a one-off occurrence. You will have opportunities in the future where you'll have to meet and assist vulnerable people across a whole host of areas. And of course, you recently launched the Solidarity Program. When we have instances such as Beryl, and you reach out to people in the first instance to offer help, are their names entered into any kind of database such that the ministry has a sense of where vulnerable people are and how to reach them in the event that they need to in another occurrence?
Yes, the quick answer is yes. And a part of what we're doing now, even with Solidarity, is to build out that database and to use data analytics to ensure that the allocation and disbursements of our human, our human element and also the resources is much more effective and deliberate. And we've learned those lessons as well. So, for instance, even with persons with disabilities, part of what we're doing now in terms of rolling out this new application is to be in a better position in the future to identify where is the person, what is the disability, and what support will be required based on the circumstances. So yes, we do keep those records, and we are digitizing, and we are putting ourselves in a position to utilize innovation and technology to always improve and enhance. And Solidarity, that program, is also structured to further assist us in terms of collecting data, but to ensure that that data is not sitting down, but rather through analytics, it's going to be utilized to help in terms of policy, programs, and operation.
Happy to hear that. Minister Green, I'm going to take part of the question, and I know Sanjay wants to take part of the question. You talked about the criticism of agriculture. You're running against a woman who made very specific criticisms of you. She described you as fenke, and she also described you as not doing anything for farmers. I want to hear your response to that kind of criticism coming from the heart of your own constituency.
Well, I've always found that in these times when we go into the political season, people say all sorts, people make all sorts of wild assertions. I've never been one to respond. I've always felt that the work on the ground that I do as Member of Parliament and as Minister of Agriculture speaks for itself. And sometimes you have the numbers that come to show that you don't have to really talk about it. As I've always said, with agriculture, you see it. You know when there are shortages, you see it in the prices, you see it in the marketplace, and you know when production is back up. And again, you see. But there's no question that the work that has been done around agriculture and across the constituency, that it is the most comprehensive, extensive work that has ever been done. But again, I wouldn't want to respond directly because I don't believe in a tit for tat. But I will say a couple of things on the agricultural side. I think when anybody looks at the work that we've done around water, irrigation, both across the country in terms of the amount of money that has been invested, about $10 billion over the last 6 years to expand irrigation networks in Parnassus, irrigation networks in places like Amity Hall, in Trelawney, but even in my own Southwest St. Elizabeth, when we came to government, there were no water trucks. So even when we had times of drought, the NIC never had the capacity to even do trucking. Now the NIC has 4 water trucks, in fact 5 water trucks that are operational now. And we've expanded the irrigation network into places like Downs Valley, into places like Short Hill. We're now on the cusp of the PG Plains irrigation scheme, having already done the feasibility study, having already done the cadastral mapping, having already done the surveys, and the Prime Minister will take steps to break ground for PG Plains next week, Friday. So again, I think fundamentally, the work will always speak more than what can be seen as just political banter and chatter. And, we never pay that any attention.
Well, just this afternoon, Minister Green, your opponent released another video on social media claiming that some individuals in your constituency are being sabotaged and have not received access to water that you just mentioned simply because of the party they support. And she also went further to say that some farmers feel that they've been placed on the backbench and not received the necessary assistance, again, because of the party that they support.
You see, and again, I've always made it my point of view to never to politicize these things. We have established systems that we operationalize to rather, long before there was talk of drought, you would have heard me indicate that South St. Elizabeth, South Clarendon are in drought, and the ministry would have taken proactive steps to allocate over $100 million in total support to provide immediately $10 million worth of trucking for farmers to get. And we said to farmers, contact RADA. And again, the RADA teams are on the ground, and you will always find in any form of distribution system, you will always find that everybody doesn't get at the same time. But again, to try and put political undertones to it is just downright wrong and untrue. And that has never been the case. I've been member of parliament now for 2 terms, and it has never been the case that we distribute on any sort of political basis. At the end of the day, I say to the farmers, we don't ask what is your politics in farming, because when they do well, the country does well, and the Minister of Agriculture looks good. That's the reality. So we try to reach to all farmers all the time, and people will say, there are still challenges. We will never ever say that there are not still challenges, and we are now in a drought. So it does mean that some of our farmers are struggling, because we do have a lot of farmers that depend on rainfall. That is why the Peacher Plains Irrigation Scheme, which will bring water from the Black River, which has been promised from the 1970s, that will fix some of those problems over the next few years, and we are ensuring that that comes to fruition. So again, what you will find in this time is a lot of political speak, a lot of falsehoods, a lot of propaganda, and you can always take a situation that is genuinely a difficult situation and try to turn it into a political win. I have never practiced that politics, and I don't believe that's the sort of politics that South St. Elizabeth wants to see, but we are seeing a different type of politics emerge. But I know it will be shunned, and very soon we'll put an end to it.
And let me ask you this, because an outsider who listen to Dr. Wellington's comments may come away thinking, are there tensions on the ground? Is something happening in Southwest St. Elizabeth such that she felt the need to essentially sound and forgive me, the trumpet of war? So let me ask you, what's happened, despite your classy response just now saying that you will not engage, what's the situation on the ground such that she feels that is where the race is now?
Well, let me say a couple of things. Again, I've always said that I've always built around my work, my respect for people, my engagement, always been present regardless of the activity, and that has been my mantra throughout all these years. And we've continued to do that. I think, unfortunately, it does appear that there's a level of desperation setting in. And maybe because there's just not the amount of traction that one is looking for. But I have gone through 2 election cycles now. I came in as opposition. We never had these issues. We never had any sort of rhetoric of this nature. We ran strong campaigns. Southwest is a very robust place when it comes to politics, but nothing of the sort was ever even mentioned. And again, came up against another formidable opponent, somebody with strong roots in the constituency. A lot was being said about how I would fare, but both of us ran respectful campaigns, never tried to over-politicize the issues. Of course, there are the criticism that goes around from both sides, but you can do it in a respectful manner. And that has been the hallmark. And again, I think, unfortunately, where people are not getting the feedback that they want, they try to up the ante. But nonetheless, we remain focused. We are sticking to the task. We continue to do the work. I would have been at multiple graduations today, engaging with our students, looking at how we can establish resource rooms. And I do want to say quickly that the Ministry of Education, I think, in Southwest St. Elizabeth, did a very good job of ensuring that all the schools that had suffered catastrophic damage were back up and running for the September term. And that is part of the work that we do, the sort of advocacy, the sort of engagement, the sort of prioritizing things like education. And I think once you do that and you remain consistent and humble and genuine in your service, then there's very little to worry about. So as you have seen, our our campaign, our approach hasn't changed. We engage our supporters and those who don't support us the same, and we will continue to do that because this is about representation, this is about service, and this is about creating a better Jamaica, and we will always put Jamaica first and choose Jamaica in what we do.
Mm-hmm. Given the tone of the recent remarks and the potentially heightened tension, do you have any plans to reach out directly to your opponent in the interest of maintaining a respectful and peaceful campaign?
Well, our campaign will always be respectful. Our campaign will always be peaceful. We've run 3 campaigns now, and there hasn't been a challenge, right? So, again, I think by how I consistently engage, people appreciate that I won't be the problem, and the team that I lead, we will never take that approach because there's certain things that are just not worth it. You do not listen. Thankfully, I was born after a time that Jamaica went through some of its worst. And having heard about that time, there is absolutely no thought in my mind, it has never crossed my mind that the political process could ever reach to that stage where we get back to that. So I think my team is clear. I think I have been clear. And I think people have seen that in Southwest St. Elizabeth. So I don't think there would only be need for outreach if there's something for me to clarify or something that needs. But I think in terms of how we have engaged, I've always maintained respect. And that is just naturally who I am. This is not a political thing. And I think who you are shines out in political activity, right? When you get in the cut and thrust, who you are shines out. And I've always tried to maintain the values that have been instilled. And where there have been errors, I've been wanting to fess up. But who you are stands out. And we will continue to run a respectful, engaging campaign. In fact, I would even say we've really started campaigning. So, there's a lot more to come in terms of putting out all the things that we have done over the past years to transform Southwest St. Elizabeth and understanding that all has not been done. There is more to be done, but only one government, only one political party, and definitely me as MP have shown that we can get it done and will.
Yeah. Pernell Charles Jr. Taking off the minister hat now, putting on the MP hat. If we can do that, Southeast Clarendon, you've emerged as one of the stronger platform speakers for the Labour Party, pushing the campaign message of choosing Jamaica and why Jamaica should be chosen. Your constituents tell me that you're pretty strong on the ground, that they have no worries. What's the lay of the land?
We take nothing for granted here. We're grateful for the support of the people. But, similar to Floyd, we have same concerns in terms of the desperation that is creeping in. I have billboards being burned, other billboards being destroyed in a very specific way to show disdain. But this is all a part of the cut and thrust. I think that as government, Southeast Clarendon and all of the other areas, we just have to remain focused because the strategy is distraction. Distract, divert attention from the real issues, create as many misleading issues as you can so that the public will be confused in their deliberation. And that's why whenever I speak, I try my best to refocus and orient the attention on the real issues that are affecting Jamaica's future. The kind of Jamaica that we want for the generations to come, a Jamaica where we continue to be economically stable, where we have our own money, reduce debt, reduce crime, and we can pay for our roads, build up our infrastructure based on our own economy, and a Jamaica where we can be attractive to investors. And that is what the Andrew Holness-led government has provided, a completely new opportunity for a Jamaica that 10 years ago I spoke about, where we dreamt about, where we would say, 50% reduction in crime year to year was only a dream. And now it's a reality because of the investments that have been made. So when I go across my constituency, I try my best to be very active. Tomorrow, for instance, we have a career fair. We expect hundreds of persons. The Minister of Education will be here with us because we push the message of jobs and opportunities, not just the rhetoric, but we ensure to show persons, youngsters especially, that the government has provided this platform. Heart is there for you to go to free. We assist you with skills training. We assist you if you have a skill to get a certificate. If you have a skill and a certificate, we assist you to get a job placement. If you have a job placement and you want more opportunities, we assist you with that as well. And we try to show people tangible and practical ways where the government, the management of the government is affecting your life. I find that many persons are distant. They just feel things are happening. It's just happening. And we have to try in our communication to be very clear so that people understand our achievements are not just to bolster and beat up our chest. Our achievements are a reflection of the commitment to create a better Jamaica, and the achievements that we speak about, the lower unemployment, the lower debt, the lower crime, is all about the people of Jamaica. And so we hope that we will be in an opportunity to continue to send that message. Choose Jamaica. Choose Jamaica is such an important, strong message. It's speaking to everyone. It's speaking to labor rights, to people who support the PNP, to people who don't support any party. We are saying to you how we have managed, the decisions that have been made, the results that you see are all about you. And we want to continue to have that Jamaica. So choose Jamaica.
Pernell Charles Jr., the Minister of Labour and Social Security, is also the Member of Parliament for South East Clarendon. We were also joined by Floyd Green, the Minister of Agriculture, Fisheries and Mining. He's the Member of Parliament for South West St. Elizabeth. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
All the best.
Yeah. Very measured, calm response from Floyd Green.
Indeed.
I suppose he's taking the cue from his party leader, the Prime Minister, who told his 63 candidates that they ought not to dissent. They ought not to dissent at all. He would not be drawn on Dr. Wellington's comments. I see that she's released a video saying she does not support political violence.
Yes, that is so. And explaining that the war that she's talking about is the war, in essence, to bring certain things to the constituency. And she spoke about...
But why is that a war? Why is that a war? Why does she think there's a war to bring things to the constituency? And that's why the statement from Dr. Campbell,
the People's National Party,
I'm unclear, because what is the metaphor? What is the metaphor? A war for what? What does that represent? And why is it a war?
And
why not a struggle? Why is it not a struggle?
Yeah, exactly. And why is it that he's of the belief that anyone is trying to silence someone because they are a female and they're outspoken?
That gender card came out of left field. I have no I have no idea where that came from.
It's like you put together a number of phrases and words and hope that it will stick. That's how I viewed the press release from the People's National Party.
10 minutes after 7, 255. Faithful?
Good afternoon, Ricardo. Good afternoon, Sanjay.
Good evening, Faithful. How are you?
Yeah, Ricardo, before I say what on this, Ricardo and Sanjay, could you upheld the Prime Minister request that is sent to MP? And that
could we do what?
Upheld the request that the Prime Minister sent to those of his follower and MP. I realize some color like to go down to the race route, like race and things like those. Okay, what I call about? The other day, the court ruled against the state of emergency, and think that it was not conducive enough for the government to use state of emergency, because that the crime rate, not because of the person that killed. And I'm thinking about the IC and the request that they sent to the court, and the court give them permission. I'm wondering if that's not there. It's not there. Do you understand what I'm saying?
No.
I didn't get the last part.
I don't think I understand.
All right. Yeah. One, the court ruled that with the state of emergency, the government will never need a state of emergency based on the crime rate. We think, at least on my part, think that where the crime was going, the state of emergency was needed to help because too many people working, particularly even where I'm living, and the court think that was too much to infringe on people's right, and for the right, and where the IC is sent to the bank to get person that work whether in government or in government agency. And for the bank information and the court grant that, so I am wondering how could the court say that the state of emergency was not needed, but yet the court feel that they could give the IC unwilling power to get everybody information that they need.
I'm faithful. So the question is what?
The question I feel that is to is how could they grant permission? How could they say that?
How could the court? How could the court? You're saying?
Right.
How
could the court say that with the state of emergency, the way the government was going about it was not necessary for the way the government. People are supposed to have liberal in their constitutional right to put in the constitutional right. The police was not supposed to have such willing power to arrest person, even though the murder rate was high, in my view.
Right. Still, I think I'm following what you're saying.
Right.
But in essence, remember though that the Integrity Commission, they have certain provisions under the law where they can request information from individuals who hold certain office. That is the powers that they have. Yeah, but the court is saying as it relates to the states of public emergencies, they didn't believe that the requests made by the government rise to the level of a state of public emergency.
Right, because they felt that they were infringing and people constitute a right. People
correct.
Start up right. So
correct.
What about the right of those persons who have the information in like?
But those individuals, by virtue of the office that they hold, they are required by law to provide that information, and the Integrity Commission by law can request the information. That's how the law is set up.
And remember also, faithful.
But I don't think they can just request it like that. They need a court order to do so.
Faithful. Remember also what the court was doing, and I mean, I thought SOE ruling was wrong. I've said that before, but remember what the court was doing in the matter of the SOE was interpreting the Constitution, as I understand it. On the matter of the disclosures, they were interpreting the powers of the Integrity Commission under the Integrity Commission Act. So the two things are not comparable.
Should I act over?
Perhaps somebody could bring a constitutional challenge to question whether the request is an intrusion on the right to privacy. But that would have to be settled.
Should any act cause me to give up my privacy right?
Yeah, and there are people who think it's wrong, who think the judgment is wrong.
Because I think, in my view, if you say one is wrong, the other is supposed to wrong also. You can't give leeway for one. And in my view, I keep thinking about it, and I keep struggling with that thing. Mark, out of all the court, the Caribbean Court of Justice, I rather to have a Jamaican court still, but even though, if I see the thing don't suit too right to me, I still not going to accept it.
All right.
So,
thanks, Faithful.
Thank you, Faithful.
Cleveland, good evening.
Yes, sir. Good evening.
How are you?
Good evening.
I'm good. Sanjay, you all right?
Yes, sir. Yeah, man, I'm good.
Okay. You know something? This country, I see, I don't know what will happen to us, because we are so biased against certain people. Right? That's when some people do things, we keep them out shut, we ignore it, we don't say anything. But as they hear somebody from the JLP say something, everybody take them on. Them have a big thing on it. Big argument about it. Then call every time Dick and Harry to come to say something. Right? Now this lady in St. Elizabeth is coming out to make an excuse for telling us what she mean from what she no mean. What she take with her, sir? And when you see her face, Jesus, Lamb of His mercy, man. And she's saying, when she used the word war, it don't really mean how we put in it. So what else do you expect when you use the word war? And when the PNP, from the leader of the party, take over, he been dropping these words from day one, you know. I remember one him say, I'm going to turn it up wicked pan them, and nobody don't take him on with it. But make somebody in a JLP say it.
You know, they have a line in the release. Her words were metaphorically and reflective of the pressure that women in politics constantly face. And I keep on reading that line because I don't know. Maybe I'm not right.
Them?
I'm trying to understand what I mean by that.
The pressure taking them, sir. Guys, stay with the lady from in Hanover, and I noticed. Somebody they don't take. I noticed the women them gone silent. They're not saying anything. But because somebody from JLP say it. What happened to those people? Last night I said Dan Jackson have on 3 known PNP people discussing about Mr. Wellington. Right, according to her, she couldn't get nobody from the JLP. But why anybody from JLP would go on the program when they would outnumber him or she? It's guys 4 of them, even the person who doing the program.
No, Cleveland.
No, Cleveland.
No,
Look at man.
Cleveland.
Look at a long time now. Watch me listen radio and follow them, you know, sir. Not just yesterday. We know them. No, this lady go on so bad Sunday night. And a war. And our face match the word war. I want to just take it light so with them excuse. No, sir. The leader of opposition said it will be blood and fire. The last time Mr. Sego used something like that, blood and fire, they not kill him, and then they never make him forget it until him dead and gone in grave. After so much years, them remind him every day of it. Come on, man. Sometimes, you know, we'll not continue to have problem in this country because people is not fearing how they discuss matters. And it's as if them afraid to tell the PNP when they're wrong. But anything them quick to come out by the 100 to come tell the JLP say they're wrong. Nothing can go so, man. It needs to be fair, balance.
All right.
Thanks
Thanks
you
for the call. Michael?
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. How are you this evening?
Doing all right.
We're
How
good.
are you?
Yeah, man. Everything all right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man. Boy, we're going in the country, man. We don't like them straighten up everything we're going in the country and make one love run things, you know, man.
Where you concerned about that country?
Well, this day yesterday, you know, me hear a news, you know, come out of St. Thomas here. The earth a 14-year-old girl to come for holiday. When you check a stock last week, a young police youth kill a young girl, sadly, plus the 9-year-old man. Me don't like them things, man. The people that must live in love. Them things, man, it's embarrassing, man. Imagine you not even going for work and now when you check a stock. Some member of your family did this trauma, man. It's not nice. And the next thing, you know, you like the 2 youth man minister will come talking at the evening, you know. Call them
Colonel Charles Jr. and Floyd Green?
Yeah.
What did he like about what you heard from them?
Well, almost just everything when me hear from them, because me just check from them, so well, them are good to be all the future prime minister, you know.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
You were that impressed?
Yeah?
You were that impressed?
Yeah, from long time, even Clive Green, more time, he has sent to go get him doctorate and thing, you know.
Oh.
Because he's a youth man, you know, because when you check it out, he work very hard in the agricultural society where if he take over from Roger Clark, it would have nice, but the two ministers before him snap most of the agricultural business, man. And the next thing, you know, man, why still remind them to the road from Guava Ridge to Flamstead, you know, because is that road me leave for me drive for, you know, man, and it's extra bad, you know, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so between Rada and Mrs. Holness and Ting, would I like them straighten the road, man. And when them had me don't want to short and work like with them do several times. I want it properly done.
All right, Michael, I hear you. Thanks for the call,
yeah,
my brother.
And the next thing, you know, the lady there, man, she must know if she address herself, man, because even in a parliament, sometime how the both side go on, them rude out harder, because we must remember children listening to them, you know.
Indeed.
Yeah, so them supposed to lay a foundation that's the children then can follow. Then cannot go on and wear the war and things. Even Clive Green and that lady, them to work together and be nice. One Jamaica, you know.
All right, Michael. Thanks for the call.
Thank you, Michael.
Billa.
Yes. Sanjay and
I never hear this name before. Billa.
Bill. Yeah, man, I call you all the while.
Oh, Bill.
Look like.
Oh, it's Bill.
Bill. Oh.
Bill.
Oh. Okay. All right, my brother. What's up?
Yeah, man. But there. So, may I say, who determine a word to be bad? Who determine it?
Aye. All right. So, the linguists say that they tell you that sometimes how language is ostracized, for want of a better word, is really about who has the power, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
the power.
Right. So we say patois, we look down on it, and some words and how we express ourselves, we say we look down on it. But what are you getting at with that? But some languages is definitely considered indecent.
And there is no single authority that really decides on that, but it's socially constructed.
Right.
Some society they believe that certain words are vulgar or sexually explicit. It's really society.
No, I can understand vulgarity, but to say bad as it. Why make it bad? Why? What determines it?
Yeah, and so when you use the bad part now, which is why I started with what the linguists say about power and class and.
But who linguists? The same people.
No. So they are just they try to explain how some of these words came to be considered bad. It came to be considered improper.
No, but remember,
because it's not supposed to be mentioned.
Colonial.
Right. Exactly.
It come from the colonial.
So those who have the power. So those who have the power determines, right?
Yeah. It's the same thing here, Cliff. I tell somebody the other day, say, even the food them where I eat.
Yes, absolutely.
Whenever you eat that from a Africa, you know, the same thing with spirituality and religion.
Right.
So it's for them determination that.
Yes.
All right. Now the next thing I put here, from time to time I always say, you want to get kudos to women Peter Phillips pertaining to they call it the economic program. Let me tell you something. This is my view, and I my view. Peter Phillips was there when the party bring the economy to a situation where the most massive transfer of wealth from the poor to the rich. He was part of that. The next thing, after Bruce Golden win. The JLP win the election 2007. Peter Phillips sit down when there's a Ardisha determined, promised, them claims Ardisha promised them that it was a nurse, either taller than this and some other public sector people. But the biggest raise that them ever get before this review, compensation review, was Ardisha 15%, and because of the signing of the agreement, it was 22%. But them get 15% first, and because of the signing of the agreement, and it was going to show the budget, Chad decided, well, I'm well back off for the 7%. Them never gave him a chance. No, Peter Phillips was there, and them never said nothing. That is why when them go now to sign the agreement, the people them were going to sign the agreement and say, you're not serious. You cannot be serious. And that is why them have to get help. And I tell the truth, if it was me, I'd the same way I'd deal with him. You cannot be serious when you see a program, and all you need to do, come on board, but then at the politics. And for that, I tell you, you cannot read Peter Phillips.
Let me ask you a question, though. Do you understand the process of collective responsibility?
Yeah.
Right.
No, I deny that.
So, right. But collective responsibility is a principle where individuals, for example, in government or the cabinet, they form a decision. And as a member of the cabinet, you may not necessarily agree with the position, but you can't come out and then say you disagree.
You can step aside. My woman from, we should step aside from Spanish Town. You can't step aside. You know, must stay there with it.
Yeah, but the decision is made by a group, such as in this instance, the cabinet.
But you,
so
as an individual,
I think he's saying, as a principled matter, you should step aside.
Step aside.
Yeah.
Okay.
So step aside, and then you'd earn my respect. So I'm gonna respect that. Understand? And that is my view. Definitely my view on that.
Yeah, we can't be on for that one. All right.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
George Davis?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. What you doing?
I'm all right. How are you?
Yeah, you know, something good. Look here. I mean, I said, without water on my mouth, you see, some journalists are nationwide. We don't make them like that anymore because they are journalists from the old school. And let me tell you where I may go. When I look for a man like you and George and the great Cliff, you know, coming like they mash up the mold and make them kind of journalists there. Because even yesterday, from Monday, I tried to call you, well, not Monday. Today was Thursday, from Tuesday. Because I want to big you up, I want to report we heard about the IC and how much days them take to do this. And no journalists in Jamaica outside and nationwide would think of doing that side of the story. Guess what they want to do? Sharpen their machete and go for who they say, no certify and who know this and who know that. Just go in at the thing and dig out the belly of whale, man, and you'll find information. So it would make interesting reading and listening. After that, I have to big you up, man, because I'm here, Judge, I big you up yesterday. Really and truly, you deserve a big up there. And you deserve
I'm not sure if it's me or Siobhan. It might have been Siobhan.
I think I you, man. I think I you, because you me hearing call.
Okay.
Yeah, but anyway,
Siobhan did very very good work on the IC report.
No, you see nationwide team.
Yes.
Big up on the status. Big up on the status. They can't stop on. No much, no care they no like say this and that and school or political grounding and all kind of foolishness. Guess what? Do what John Public want to hear, isn't it? The other thing I want to say.
I appreciate that, my brother.
Yeah, man, respect. You see all this one foolishness about them are coming down from Wami, tell us Wami right to do it, but remember, and today or yesterday, them thing they're going, I remember one lady when say, she's a stepping razor, don't watch her size, she's dangerous.
That is Portia Simpson Miller.
She said, no guy, no boy, no this, no that, can't take this girl. People don't remember them thing there.
Yes.
But remember, say, guess what? And say, uneasy there that wear the crown, huh?
Indeed.
So, like how a big man, a prime minister, step in and say, here are people. We're not going to answer them. We're not going to enjoy with them up to them level. We just go show them respect and deal with things with dignity. You understand me?
Yes.
And the lady down at St. Elizabeth, I think even the press release that she write, it's not even worth the paper that it is written on. I tell you the truth, because guess what? When George Bush and Ronald Reagan say, oh, this is an outright war, what do you think they might talk about? You think they might talk about we're going to fight to get service and this and that. We'll kill people. I mean, I want to go back to them things because them things they still are in Jamaica up to now.
Yes.
Right? So like our Prime Minister step in and say, well, here are people. We now go down there, so make them go and go join in their one vomit. Right? I'm only hope and pray that this election thing just be peaceful, because I say a little thing are going down in a Montego Bay with some banner and some billboard.
Yes, I've been hearing about it.
And I see it going, and then you have some people who make some comment and kind of insinuate, say, Ray. Listen, I have a virgin who do banner. And the man said, based on the material where they use, some of them banner they are self-inflicted damage, meaning them put them up, the wind blow them, the wind can't find nowhere to go. So it's here where meal go in or whatever. Some of them say, array. Whether or not, we just want to hope, say nobody now vindictively go out there, go take down people banner this and that. Because I guess what Mr. Brooks and Mr.
Lewis.
Yeah. Banner and billboard, honestly, they know in election.
True.
Because I am of the firm view, say, if me went on vote for John Brown, and be one,
you could have put up 1 million banner. Yes, that is true. That is true. That is true.
And I think also it is a waste of money in a Jamaica.
And you know, Bill, you made a point, and I agree, because George, there's a way in which some parts of the city that I'm driving through now, it really is just dotting up the place.
Yeah,
They have there are parts of the city where them just tear up cloth and just hang it all over the place. And it looks nasty.
And a few weeks from now on the election call and done, then go back out there with the energy where they use
to take it down. Absolutely. You are absolutely correct.
And that become a burden on the state because solid waste have
got cleaned up. Yeah, I need to check what are the rules about how you put up, where you can put these things. Because some of them are not posters, it's just cloth. Just wrap up cloth all over the place.
Yeah, and so I need to look funny and say, how much can be, the one I to go store, how much you build one banner, how much them pay if you put them up. And me know say the municipal corporation, they don't charge them unless they go in the commercial space. But there's a cost to everything, and
there should be some order to it. You shouldn't just be able to just tie up the whole place and whatever.
When them doing them report to the election commission, they include the cost for them thing, and I because I can't contribution from John Public just a go down with the drain. So I turn in a garbage after the election. And I can't contribute to garbage.
Quite right you are, George.
You know, but big up on the thing, man, and I tell you that nationwide, a real revolution. You really are taking to them, and I tell you that yesterday Monday, Martin Luther King when say I have a dream, they say Cliff Hughes, not only dream, he vision and he visualize and he put in a reality. They got Mr. Hughes, I real everyone.
All right, George.
All right, thank you, George.
Grant.
Yes.
Good evening.
Mr. Ricardo.
Yes.
And Mr.
Sanjay is with me. Yes.
Good evening, Grant.
How are you?
Doing all right.
I'm good.
Yes. I'm giving thanks here, Still breathing.
That's good.
Mr. Ricardo.
Yes, sir.
One of the biggest problems we have in this country.
What is it?
Hypocrisy. Hypocrisy.
Okay.
The PNP get away with too much wrongs. They get away with too many wrongs, and it's like I just get the impression that just play. I wonder. Let me ask you something. I don't have a fear for the PNP. Why don't I really tell them for what it is? Call them out for what they are doing.
What would you like to hear us call them out on that we haven't?
No,
There's so many things that, like this woman now who come on and talk about war. And every time they do these things, somebody call them out to apologize. And if they come out and just say something and withdraw, and everybody just forgot about what them say. And you don't see the agenda of the PNP. You don't see what them set out for. You don't see the danger. You don't see the danger where they must set this country. But them decide to get power at any cost, you know. You don't see that. You don't see that. Mr. Ricardo.
I'm listening to you, Grant. Go ahead. Because we certainly have condemned the comments. We've asked her to withdraw the comments. She's not withdrawing it. Clearly, the PNP has doubled down on it.
Mm.
So
I never asked them to withdraw anything. I never do it yet.
No, but you're asking what is it that we are doing, and Ricardo outlined things that we have done.
I know,
in response
but I'm
to
just
that
asking
statement.
you. There are many times I hear them ask them. I heard them ask them to withdraw what they said and apologize, and they don't. Mark Golden, him don't. Dayton Campbell, him don't. The lady now, the lawyer, she don't. I could name a whole lot of them. You know what I mean? They don't, because they set their mind one way, and that is where they are going. So that is why they won't apologize. You understand? I don't understand that. Mr. Ricardo, when the JLP acquired power from the PNP in 2016,
yes.
How many gangs they inherited from the PNP? Gangs were in Jamaica at the time.
300 and something is coming to my mind. That's the number I recall.
So what the number they have now?
The last number I heard, I think it was cut in half or lower than that.
Much lower, just about 100.
Right.
I think here the premises, somewhere in the 100.
Mm-hmm.
So it's almost 200 gangs this government take down since they're in power. So Ricardo, I wonder what have really happened to the JLP. They just behave like a lamb to the slaughter. Why they won't push back the way they are to? Eh?
When you say push back, what do you mean?
You mean correcting misinformation?
No, what I'm saying now. What I'm saying to you about these gang now.
Mm-hmm.
They have since this government in power, they have taken down over 200 gangs, what they inherited from the PNP. The PNP are pressing desperately
I mean, when you say inherited from the PNP, there were over 300 gangs when the Labour Party came to power. Yes.
When they came to power,
right.
From the PNP was in government. That's what I mean.
Okay.
Right. I don't mean the PNP gang.
Okay.
When they were the government.
Right.
That's what I mean.
Okay.
Good. I know the JLP, they're campaigning, but I don't hear they're pushing this very important point and telling the people them intensively about it.
You mean specifically the gang reduction?
Yes, I mean, they should. I don't mean they just come on radio and talk. Every corner and every crevice they go in a Jamaica, they should be reminding people about this. But this is something very important.
But Grant, remember, and this is why I've had very little patience for those who have said there is no crime plan. Because if there ever were a plan, this is it. That the gang reduction strategy has been consistently communicated. I mean, if you're saying that it needs to be communicated more, I can't argue with that. But it has been consistently communicated, certainly by the Prime Minister, that in his vision, how he sees the country, that is one of the areas that he really wants to break the back of the gangs, that he wants to rid communities of gangs. He's talked about that a lot, quite a lot, actually.
Yes, I heard.
And he has also explained in great detail, I think, the link that he sees between destroying gangs and long-term economic development and prosperity. I think he has.
I heard him.
Yeah.
I heard him.
Right.
But what Mr. Ricardo, my experience out here, many people not getting the message. Many people not getting the message.
Okay.
Many people don't listen to news, you know.
But you see, my brother, I hear you and I agree with you because I see the shocking levels of ignorance daily on social media. But I wonder to myself, what more can you do really to get the message? Yeah, because I mean, it's a difficult communication environment that governments, politicians exist in, you know. You have to almost be omnipresent everywhere all at once, and that is not easy. And then, yeah.
Hello?
Go ahead.
I mean, when they're campaigning, when they're on the road, when they're driving out campaigning, they must constantly, that's how people get the message. Because they go in every community when they're ready to getting people to vote for them. You understand me?
Yes.
And they must constantly have these message telling people on the seriousness about these gangs coming back.
Yes.
You know what I mean? These guys coming back. I wonder if they remember how people used to run in the 70s, run left them property and things in Jamaica, after run leave Jamaica because of the political war. Gangs and all these things. Right?
Yes.
These things are serious. We don't want these things come back in Jamaica.
But here's what I'll say to you as well, Grant. I think citizens of goodwill and who mean well, who have the information like you clearly do, I think citizens also have a responsibility, you know, and I get, but the problem is that people can't be happy for the success of the country without saying that, you know, it's a political matter.
Yeah.
So you in your own spaces, whether it be at the bar, whether it be at church, whether it be in your civic groups, as a citizen, a responsible citizen, I think you also have a responsibility to tell people that, hey, this is happening. Did you see this?
And also to correct the misinformation.
That you hear. And that shouldn't have anything to do necessarily with politics, but just as a responsible citizen living in a country, I think we have a role to play too.
I did that, you know, Mr. Ricardo. But let me tell you something. It's like lie and deception planted in the people's minds.
Yes.
It planted in them. You can't hardly get it through to them. You understand?
Yes, I can appreciate that.
This is how they fix. They just the people. Most of the people who used to follow in the PNP, you know, they don't really want hearing on truth, you know. Them and the PNP know that, and that is why they constantly deceive them and tell them lies. They don't want to hear any truth. They are following them to hear the lie and the deception.
All right, Grant. Thank you for the call. Carl.
Evening, Ricardo. Evening, Sanjay.
Good evening.
Evening, Carl.
All right, here, Sanjay, your time again. You, all time people have a say if you say, show me your company, and it tells you who you are. A lady from St. Elizabeth, you don't expect Dayton Campbell to say anything better. You remember what Dayton Campbell used to say about Paula Lewin? Guy your yard. You remember? So the Laba, but the lady from Douglas, you don't expect Dayton Campbell to do anything more than say them supporting the lady. You don't expect any better. Anyhow, I want to take it. You remember one statement where Golden did say, they have to take it to the JLP because they're not going to give up power like that. And we have to take it to them. Wicked. What wicked mean? You remember that statement there?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And did you hear all who are jump up on TV station and invite and the human rights them, man, even the church people them know. Oh, if I may reach back to the church, I want to, as a church man, I'm going to remind the church, TN9 Lane, me in a straight politics now. TN9 Lane church. Some of you know church where I jump out today, I jump in a politics now. You know, need to go help some of the members them where I walk with them shoes, lean from Montego Bay to Kingston. All you know do. Daughter have SUV, son have SUV, wife have SUV, and the members them are dead for hungry.
So you know, got farm in a line now. Politics me, join in a line. Some pastors, go join in a line. If you don't join in a line, now go like what I will come for some, join in a line, stay membership group.
What do you mean?
Politics.
What do you mean by them now go like where I come to them? What I mean?
So a lot of them who say them a pastor today can't to bunting should have died prison. And that is one of the things.
Wait, what? What? According to Bunting, what?
Remember, say Bunting did say he might make Andrew in a short pants.
Well, I don't know that he said Andrew. He said some of them, but
some
okay.
of them are got in a short. Some of them are pastor today. Should have in a more than short pants. Join in a line. Staying in a pulpit. And somebody need to tell you how some of the offering them are go for years, come. And the church can't fix, nothing can done. Stay in a lane. Stay in a lane.
I hear you, Carl.
Politics me in and now. And me ask Sanjay what wicked mean.
You'd have to ask Mr. Golden to explain that one.
What
he meant at that time, because what he said he's gonna get wicked pan them. Something
wicked pan the labor, right? Yeah, get wicked pan the labor, right?
One time he said wicked.
I couldn't. I don't know what was in the mind of Mr. Golden, so I can't explain that one at all.
You did hear none of the church and they come out and tell him to apologize?
I don't recall that one.
Not one of them. Not one of them. You see some of these church people, me don't know what some of them will tell the Almighty say anytime he returns. Staying in a lane, we are into politics now. Politics me I deal with now. Staying in a lane. Staying a lane, low we in a full lane.
All right, Carl. Thanks for the call. Errol?
Yes, Chevron.
Ricardo.
Oh, Ricardo.
You're not supposed to get my name wrong, because you've now met me. So you're not supposed to get my name wrong.
Call on.
All right.
What we want to know, in the 70s to the 80s, if Marty G did at Jamaica, if you know what Jamaica did be them time then. Yeah, answer me now.
I don't know. I suppose, yes, he would have been around, yes.
What you say, Sanjay?
I agree with Ricardo, I suppose so.
I don't believe so. I'm saying born, but I don't believe him the day of them the time. You say if him the day.
How old is he? He might have been at school at the time. I don't know. I know he studied overseas for some time. I don't know.
In the 70s, you're there around them time there?
No, I wasn't.
All right. No. Because even you see no for them MP when them take on with the PNP them. No for them don't know no about the 70s and the 80s. That's why they can go around and them preach war and preach. Them who don't like a 70s and the 80s come back, Them hear about rhyme again where they push it in the 80s one team. Them hear about them kind of people, Wonder when they Trevor Man you in the 70s, 80s, communism bring in a WPG. Then the man make the most M16 and then gun they come down.
No. Hey, no. No, Errol, no.
No, Errol.
No, withdraw that.
You have to withdraw.
All right, but withdraw.
Yes, sir. No, we have absolutely no evidence or proof of that. Errol, thank you for the call, Errol. David, good evening.
Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Good evening, David.
Yeah, I just want to make 2 quick points and then I just hang up. I heard Bobby last night made mention about the church and the fact that there was and he said that you weren't sure in regards to what he said that was actually published. But anyway, I was thinking if it's the case where the church would actually would issues, statements on political issues, right? Which sometimes can have a negative view to public persons that are listening, right? Without actually doing a proper research. Because I'm a member of the church, right? Is it that I would love to know if they do the same thing in regards to whenever the government or even the opposition, by and large, would actually do something positive. Is this message actually being out and being addressed by the church? And at least we appreciate what was done or what was said. You understand what I'm trying to say?
I wasn't on last night, so Sanjay, I'm not sure. What was the context of the discussion?
Which one? I didn't hear the question.
No. Bobby made mention about the Integrity Commission making some pronouncement about the Prime Minister statutory issue.
Yes.
And I think you said that you're not aware of it. You haven't, that information hasn't reached you.
The part of the report that says they closed an investigation.
Yes. And the question was asked, and Siobhan indicated that he's unsure.
Yeah, we're trying to clarify. Yes.
Right. Yeah, but what he said that the church put out a statement in regards to the I'm trying to remember exactly what he says, but it kind of missed. But probably if you can help me in regards to the church made a statement, and he was a little upset, saying that it was the church should stay out of the political business.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I think it has to do with the Mr. Dennis Strong appointment.
Yes.
Right. Yes. Exactly so. Right. And my thoughts on it, I was thinking that if the church is involved that active, because I think I to some extent I can agree with what he's saying here, because in a situation like that, Mr. Chong, I think that the church should have actually wait a little if they think they should voice some opinion on it and get the full facts first. I do their own personal investigation, dig deep before they actually, make a statement.
That's what you mean.
Right, because if you're going to do that, then in whenever there's positive things that is done by the government, and I'll say we don't want to basically make it look one-sided. Even with the opposition is concerned, come out and say something too.
Yeah. You see, in a politically charged season, I think that the church must be absolutely careful. Yeah.
Indeed.
In whatever comments that they come out and make, you have to be careful. Because whichever side it is, the opponent is going to point fingers. Yeah.
Yeah, because even now it kind of somewhat lopsided with the various entities out there that is basically, I don't want to use the word cheering for the opposition, because you hear so much about what the government do wrong.
Didn't Mr. Siaga,
the opposition do wrong?
Didn't Mr. Siaga at one point refer to the church group as the PNP at prayer? I think I read that somewhere. I vaguely remember reading that somewhere.
Yeah.
But we're out of time, my brother. I have to go.
Okay.
Yeah, man. Thanks for the call. I thought that was, when I read it, I thought that.
Listen,
that was funny.
If you follow Mr. Siaga and some rhetorics, he has some very crafty rhetorics, the PNP, both inside and outside the parliament.
The PNP at prayer. That's all the time we have. Thank you for keeping us company. This has been Nationwide at 5. Special thanks to the producer, Dana Davey, Andrew Glenn Anderson, the man behind the control.